the game could see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live.
To the DAZN U.S. Media Teleconference with World Heavyweight Champion Anthony Joshua. All participants will be in listen-only mode. Should you need assistance, please signal a conference specialist by pressing the star key followed by 0. Please note this call will last until 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time. After today's presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. To ask a question, you may press star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. To withdraw your question, please press star, then 2. Please note this event is being recorded. First, I'd like to introduce Vice President of Communications and Public Relations for DAZN North America, Chris Legentle.
Thanks for joining our first ever U.S. Media Teleconference featuring Anthony Joshua ahead of his September 22nd heavyweight championship clash against Alexander Povetkin. Today also marks DAZN's official launch in the U.S. We are now available on connected devices including smart TVs, PCs, smartphones, tablets, and game consoles, so we encourage all of you to check us out. And we wanted to take a moment to say that we truly appreciate the attention and coverage we've received to this point. We're very excited to get things underway. And before we turn things over to AJ, I want to introduce the SVP of DAZN North America, Joseph Markowski, to say a few words. Joe?
Thank you, Chris. I'd like to start by echoing your point about our appreciation that so many members of the media have taken an interest in the DAZN story so far. And we're very confident this is just the beginning. So, as you probably know, DAZN is a global live and on-demand sports streaming service. And since our launch 2 years ago, we've gone live in 6 countries across 3 continents. And today we're very proud to add the US as our 7th market. DAZN is leading the charge to provide access to sports anytime, anywhere. We don't do contracts or bundles. It's just one affordable price of $9.99 per month for access to all of our fights and all of our sports programming, never stashing our best content for pay-per-view or cable TV. Around the world, DAZN is a multi-sport offering, and that will soon be the case also in the US. But our first and very exciting chapter is fight sports, combat sports. We already have 70-plus fight nights across Matchroom Boxing, Bellator MMA, and the World Boxing Super Series planned for our opening 12 months, and that really is only the beginning. One more point to make before we hand over to AJ is value. If you sign up to DAZN on day one with the AJ fight on the 22nd of September, your first month will include that fight, Joshua Povetkin, the Grove Smith World Boxing Super Series final, Bellator 206, 207, and 208, Vargas Delorme, Saunders Andrade, and several opening round matchups of the World Boxing Super Series second season, on top of our library of archive fights and original content. So a quite remarkable offer in the first month. DAZN will offer subscribers all a 1-month free trial, so we encourage everyone to give us a shot, please. And without further delay, I'll pass over to Matchroom President Eddie Hearn to introduce Anthony Joshua. Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks everyone for calling in tonight, and thanks AJ for joining us. I'm going to keep it fairly brief. I just want to say how exciting it is to be working with DAZN. You know, as a promoter, you're always dying out for a platform to come in aggressively into the boxing market, give you a huge number of shows to build what will be an unrivaled stable. Some big announcements coming. Of course, the signing of pound-for-pound top 3 Alexander Usyk last week, and plenty more pound-for-pound stars to be announced in the next few weeks and months ahead. Before our US debut on October the 6th, we have a very special event coming from Wembley on September the 22nd. The biggest star in world boxing, unrivaled. Over 400,000 tickets sold. 300,000 tickets sold in his last 4 events. And we're expecting over 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium on the 22nd of September to witness a fight between the number 1 ranked heavyweight in the world with the Ring magazine against the number 3 ranked heavyweight in the world in Alexander Povetkin. The WBA, the WBO, the IBF and the IBO world championship titles on the line. And like I said, Anthony Joshua is a huge commercial draw, but it must be said, he is unquestionably the number one heavyweight in boxing, and he will prove this on September the 22nd and over the years to come, because he's going to completely dominate the division commercially, in boxing sense, in legacy sense, and he's a pleasure to work with. He's trained hard in this camp, and we can't wait for a fantastic evening on September the 22nd against Alexander Povetkin. So without further ado, we're going to open the floor now to questions for the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua.
I'll begin. To ask a question, you may press star then 1 on your telephone keypad. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your question, please press star then 2. At this time, we will pause momentarily to assemble our questions. The first question comes from Michael Woods of Ring. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the time to do the call. Question is for AJ. Anthony, I must admit to you that a lot of people in the United States think so highly of your talent that many aren't giving Povetkin that big of a chance. Now, I'm assuming we're not overrating you, I don't think, but are we underrating Mr. Povetkin?
Yeah, I think they're underrating Mr. Povetkin, just due to the fact that, on a commercial sense, boxing's changed. It's about being as popular as you are a good fighter. So unfortunately, Povetkin, like, first language isn't English or American. Doesn't come from, like America or England, like quite leading countries in boxing and so on. So in terms of marketing, it's hard to market him. But put that aside, in terms of talent, you're dealing with an Olympic gold medalist, a world title challenger with one loss to the all-time great Vladimir Klitschko. So I've got to take him seriously.
The next question comes from Stephen Mittelhausen of SportingNews.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, guys. Thank you for being on the call today. Question for Anthony. Anthony, just, there's so much on the line here. You got Povetkin on 22nd. Wilder, Fury look like they're going to fight later on this year. It seems like it's all set up for you to face the winner of that fight. But the question is, how do you keep all the emotions that's going on with Wilder and Fury, and how do you keep that centered, and how do you stay focused on Alexander Povetkin?
Like, when I turned professional, Wilder and Fury were 5 years ahead of me. So I kind of looked at those guys and thought, what are they up to with their career? So now I'm on my journey. I've surpassed what they've done. I've set a new level of what should be done in the heavyweight division. And I just focus on what I've got in front of me, which is Alexander Povetkin. There's so much glitz and glamour out there in the heavyweight division, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, everyone knows in the heavyweight division, it's a puncher's game. It's one punch that can change the course of history. So that's what keeps my eyes on the prize. It's been a difficult camp, really intense. And you know how it goes. We just hope it pays off, because it just leads you on to the promised land. Every win takes you that next step further. And it's like snakes and ladders. 1 foot wrong, you slide right back down and you're at the start of the pecking order again.
The next question comes from Eddie Goldman of No Holds Barred. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hi, AJ. I just had a chance to... Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. I just had a chance to rewatch Povetkin's fight with Klitschko from about 5 years ago. And while you obviously have a very different style from Klitschko, you're going to have the same height and reach advantage. He was sort of lumbering in, trying to land overhand rights. What can we expect in this fight in terms of how you're going to approach him, given the height and reach advantage and given the way his history of fighting?
I look at different fights, like the Marco Huck fight, the David Price fight more recently, then the Christian Hand. I don't know. Povetkin fights differently in all of his fights. I think the thing with him and Klitschko, there was a bit of political issues, so they really wanted to prove themselves. Then you look at the fight with Christian Hammerweight. It was a 12-round breeze. But with that being said, how am I going to approach the fight? However I want to approach it. Maybe I might just box and keep it simple. Maybe I might keep a tight guard and go pound for pound with him, trade for trade. It just really depends how I feel. But the reason why I say that is because I'm versatile. I can keep it long or I can slug it out. It depends what I analyze from my opponent, you know, as soon as I get in there, if I'm honest with you. I never really go in there and say, this is exactly what I'm going to do from round 1 to round whenever I get them out of there. I just analyze them punch by punch, and I'll switch up my style as the rounds go along.
Once again, if you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. The next question comes from Carlos Toro of Sightful. Please go ahead.
Hi, Anthony Joshua. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. I was looking back at the debut fight day, and even at the time, you came in with a ton of momentum coming out of the Olympics, and a lot of people were all calling you the people's champ for the future. Did you think at that point that within 5 years you'd be headlining Wembley a second time with a third Wembley fight coming in next April?
I promise you, not at all. I was actually just with my cousin now, and we were looking through some old pictures. And it made me appreciate the journey because you know how boxing is. It's rough, it's rugged, hardly any support, and you just got to build and build and build, and we've managed to build to where we are today. So I can honestly say, as tough as it is, as much as it is a blessing as well, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
The next question comes from Jeff Wojciechowski of Hit First Boxing. Please go ahead.
AJ, just like you just said, it's a blessing what you have done in England. Now you come in America on a brand new platform with DAZN. How are you feeling on that whole movement?
DAZN's big, you know. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for DAZN. Like, we initially had a meeting before. Sometimes when it comes to certain meetings with boxing, I've got some real trusted people in there, i.e. like Eddie Hearn, my management team. But Eddie told me this is a meeting that I should get involved in. I should sit down and hear out what's going on. And then I did. And I wouldn't say I was sold straight away, but I was, you know, you always have to sift through everything and find out what's really going on. So we did that, and I found out that this is a really good platform to be on. It's new. It's going to take time to build, but what a way to launch it. We've got a heavyweight championship fight September 22nd. In the States, we've worked with different broadcasters, but this is fresh, it's new, and I like the idea of it because it's affordable, it works for everyone across the whole world, so we'll see where it goes, and I'm glad to be a part of it at the beginning. Hopefully I can get some shares in the company sometime down the line.
The next question comes from Cheyenne McCargo of Blue Blood Sports TV. Please go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, AJ?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. We know that Fury and Wilder is scheduled to take place at the end of the year in a big fight. In recent interviews, I've heard you state that that you must fight Wilder, win or lose the Povetkin fight. Why the change of heart when you had the opportunity to face Wilder in 2018? And also I heard that you stated that you are overlooking Alexander Povetkin in this fight, looking past him to Deontay Wilder. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. With Wilder's situation, when I sit back and think about it, I realize there was a lot of talking. And he's done well to build a profile off of the back of my hard work. So I give him credit for that. But ultimately, when we're all in the same division, we all have to fight. There's no doubt about it. People were saying Canelo was ducking Triple G. They're about to have a second rematch, a double fight. People don't duck each other. They fight at the right time when the deal's right. It's the same principle with me and Wilder. We'll get it on as soon as the deal's right. That's the only hold up with that situation. Unfortunately, time doesn't wait for no man, and time didn't wait for us to kind of get our negotiations together. So we have to keep it moving. But with Povetkin, what I said is that after I fought Carlos Takam, Wilder called me out and said I've been ducking him, I've been dodging him. But I'd never heard a word from Wilder before then. So with that situation, I always entered my next fight as if I was going to fight Wilder next. So remember, I've been negotiating with Wilder's team from after I fought Carlos Takam, so I was being patient. Then I found out I was fighting another champion. So I thought, all right, if I win this fight, I've definitely secured the fight with Wilder. So I boxed carefully. So what I was saying is that my mind's always been on what's next. All right, I've got to win this fight to fight Wilder. I've got to win that fight to fight Wilder. But now it's like, I'm going to fight Wilder regardless. So I just got to focus on Povetkin, go in there and have fun. Don't be cautious because it's ruining my style, my aggressive style. And just go out there and just take out Povetkin like I would do any other opponent.
The next question comes from Michael Gross of The Boxing Voice. Please go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, AJ?
All good, thank you. You?
I'm doing pretty good. How's training going?
It's difficult. Sparring's been tough, but yeah, it should put me in good stead for a good, potentially 12-round fight.
Speaking of sparring, I see you were sparring with Martin Coley and Ajit Tabeb. Can you speak on why you picked those guys?
Sometimes we find it difficult to get sparring sometimes, and sometimes they're sparring all over the place. Some people that I spar with, they like to train before, so sometimes people aren't having fights, so we just get in anyone. And what I've learned is that it is good to have similar styles of my opponent. But at the end of the day, anyone who's throwing punches at me is doing me a favor. So Coley's very strong, and he knows the game. European champion, he knows the game, short, stocky fighter like Povetkin. And then we've had various other sparring partners come in. So, yeah, that's the thing. The main thing with sparring is someone throwing shots at you, learning how to defend, counter, whether they're tall or small. You just learn all the time. So we're willing to spar and we're open to spar anyone.
Gotcha. A couple of months ago, I heard you on the Stephen A. Smith show, on his radio show, and you stated that you would like to fight at the Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
Can you say why you picked that stadium out of all the ones in America?
I like Vegas, of course. I like New York as well. But sometimes, if everyone's going in one direction, it's good to try something new. So that's the only reason, is because it holds a lot of people, like 100,000, 80,000 or something like that. And I think with what we've built in the UK, people are patriotic. They get behind their athletes. So they would love to travel across seas to come and watch one of their homegrown athletes fighting one of the major stadiums in the States. So the issue that I found with the other stadiums, 20,000 or so, it's not a big issue, but I would like to cater for the people that have been riding with me. So I know that stadium has 100,000, so that just makes more sense to me.
Absolutely. Now, your promoter, Eddie Hearn, just made a big signing last week, Alexander Usyk, and he's talking about moving up to heavyweight. Do you see him being a big-time contender at the heavyweight division?
If he moves up correctly, yeah. What you got to remember, I think, the heavyweights of today's generation are a different kettle of fish. We're different to, like, the Muhammad Ali's and, Marciano's. It used to be guys like me and Wilder, Fury. We used to be clumsy. But now our coordination's good. We can punch. We're strong. So Usyk needs to move up at the right stages and just figure out what it's like being with 17, 18 stone guys that can punch very hard, because it's not just based on skill, this heavyweight division. It's based on your will as well, how much you can take. So if he moves up correctly, I know he's had a lot of amateur experience. He's done well as a cruiserweight. But if he moves up to the heavyweight division, it will also test his will along with his skill. So it'll be really interesting to see how he develops. And he's more than welcome because he's a good asset to the sport.
Gotcha. Now, if you're not able to
This
get
was
to the wild...
emailed. What does it feel like standing in front of 90,000 fans at Wembley?
Now, it's my normal now. I was speaking to someone about this the other day. From when I first started boxing, the championship, European championship, the Olympic championship, I turned professional. 2.5 years later, 3 years later, I'm fighting for a world championship. 3.5 years later, I'm at Wembley. So what certain people dream of, I've managed to make it my normal. So I don't know. It doesn't mean much to me anymore. I'm just rolling with it and just having fun with it.
We have a follow-up from Stephen Mudhausen of SportingNews.com. Please go ahead.
Just had a follow-up for Anthony, and Eddie, if you want to chime in on this as well, it'd be appreciated. I wanted just to get your thoughts on why do you think Povetkin is so vastly underrated heading into this fight? Do you think it's because of all the Wilder and possible Fury talk, or is it just the fact that the Povetkin skills are just not what aren't up to snuff to a lot of people's minds?
No, well, I'll jump in. Go on, Josh.
Go on, Ed. No, I'm listening. Go on.
Okay. Well, for me, I think this is a fight where anybody in boxing is telling me this is a tough fight, and this is a fight where what AJ commented earlier, he doesn't have necessarily the commercial value of other fighters. But when you look at the independent ratings, we use the Ring magazine, he's number 3 in the world. So if you can't take him seriously, then, as people say, you don't know your boxing. But, I think that the key here is the progression of Anthony Joshua. This is his 22nd fight. And in that fight, in that period, he has dealt with Dillian White, Dominic Breazeale, Vladimir Klitschko, Carlos Takam, Joseph Parker, and after September 22nd, Alexander Povetkin, all within 22 fights. So what he's doing is continuously boxing the best in the world, the top 10s, the other world champions, the legends, the guys who come in at short notice that could have potentially affect his style. And now, another mandatory challenger in Alexander Povetkin. One defeat to Vladimir Klitschko. That is it. And in all the other fights, but also in this fight with Povetkin, it's not just about what you're facing with Povetkin. It's what you're facing with the team and with the country as well. Because let me tell you, the world of boxing, Andrei Rybinski, the country of Russia, even the government, they are absolutely desperate for Povetkin to beat Anthony Joshua, for a Russian heavyweight to knock out a British heavyweight at Wembley on September the 22nd. So in my opinion, this fight is Anthony's toughest outside of Klitschko, and maybe even including Klitschko, because of everything that's at stake. So we take this threat extremely seriously. I think this is even a tougher fight than some of the other guys that are getting mentioned as future opponents. So I know that also this is a great fight for Anthony Joshua to show his improvements and to show that he's the very best heavyweight in the world.
Yeah. I think Eddie touched on some of the things that I saw. And the last thing I'll touch on is that it's just the market is so different now. I think, will we see any all-time greats come through anymore? I highly doubt it, because there's always comparison to what the old-timers were like, and there's no room for error anymore. I sit in my little room in Sheffield, and with social media I can track people's lifestyles, and I'm seeing people my age driving Lamborghinis, sitting on the beach, drinking Desperados, and I'm thinking, wow, at their age, when my parents were 28, 25, they were struggling, trying to find extra work. So no one shows the struggle. And what makes this fight and the boxing industry so difficult now is that it's all about your perfect record, a perfect fight. I get knocked down, he gets knocked down, I get knocked down, he gets knocked down. My eye splits, his eye splits. If I knock him out, whoa, what a fight that was. There's no room for boxing expertise. It's a different era, and it's so much pressure, not only the fact that I've got to face Alexander Povetkin, who is a highly ranked challenger. He's coming to win. There's no doubt about it, and I'm coming to win. But it's all the pressure surrounding the sport of boxing now as well, because the Western world is so commercialized, I don't think it leaves room for any error anymore, and this is what I'm facing now. And it's not like I'm a featherweight where I can go out there and box 12 rounds and I'll come out of there with a little scratch. There's a possibility that he could swing a sweet left hook, boom, it's lights out, history changes. And that's enough pressure in itself, because you know what the backlash comes with. And then you've got guys like my opponents out there who, they understand what it takes to be a boxer, but they discredit it. There's not a positive word to say about no one anymore in this game. So there's a whole lot of pressure that comes around the sport now. And you've just got to be so tough-minded, because that's what I said about Alexander Usyk. It's not just about your skill anymore. It's about your will. How much can you take in the ring? and how much stick can you take outside of the ring. You'll see like a different generation. Like I see Javonte Davis the other day on his Snapchat said, I'm done with boxing. It doesn't respect the real anymore. So you can see from a mental aspect, it's affecting certain fighters now. So it's a big fight because there is so much to lose these days. Your credibility, your respect, your marketability, all these things. I was watching Lennox Lewis's top 4 career losses today. I watched Vladimir Klitschko versus Samuel Peters. And I was like, wow, look how far these guys have come in their journey. You know, it hasn't been Wembley every night for Vladimir Klitschko. It hasn't been, you know, sensational fights every night for Vlad. Same with Lennox Lewis, undisputed champ. But now, the part in the middle, that struggle, is so easy to forget about. But this is what is exposed to the world right now. I am going through the hard part of my career. And that's why this fight is so hard, because I'm not the finished article. I still make mistakes, but it makes me exciting to the public because they know I'm not the finished article. And I've just got to stay on track, stay strong-minded until the day I'm done with it, so I can really see how far I could take this boxing. Because if I listen, and that's what one thing I said to my friend the other day, with all the negativity that goes around in today's era, imagine I listened to everyone's opinion, reverse it about 8 years ago when I first started. I would have never had my first fight because I was a lot worse then than I am now. So imagine I listened to everyone's opinion back then. That's why today I have to be strong enough to block it out, because if I listen to everyone's opinion today, I'll never be able to see where I'll get to in the next 8 years. So I've got to put the blinkers on, focus, and just give it my best with Alexander Povetkin, because, as Eddie said, this is not just about me and Povetkin. This is about his country. This is about my country. This is about America, even with Deontay Wilder. This is about, as I said, marketability. There's so much that goes into this that people don't see, but yet I choose to project the glamorous life of being a heavyweight champion. But there's a lot of struggle behind the scenes that come with it.
And we do have a follow-up from Michael Woods of Ring. Please go ahead.
Anthony, boxing is a niche sport in the United States. You are much more popular there than any of the fighters are here. It would be hard-pressed to get anyone into a 100,000-seat stadium. The fight fans in the United States, they don't know most of the American boxers or the other superstar boxers. What I'm saying is I'd like to see you come and fight in the United States to have some of the fans here get to know you, and that would help build up a fight with Wilder. Is that what maybe you're going to do next?
Let's say everything goes to plan, I beat Povetkin. My sights would be set on Deontay Wilder for fight. Potentially, 99.9% sure it should be in the UK. But providing that didn't happen, this is the issue that I found, is that if I start talking about it now and I don't do it, maybe I'm a fraud. But what I would do is I'll speak to Eddie and I'll look at the contenders. If America's the right option for me to fight there, I've fought there before as an amateur and I'll fight there again as a professional, no problem. So we'll figure out what's right for my career. But at this stage, looking at one fight ahead, if I beat Povetkin, which I'm confident I will, I'm looking at fighting Wilder at Wembley next, 2019.
Please note we have time for one more question, and that question will come from Eddie Goldman of No Holds Barred. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'll make it very quick. Anthony, would you like to make a prediction for this fight with Povetkin?
12 rounds, probably. 11, 12 rounds. He's a tough cookie. He'll stay around for a while. And I'll win. So, yeah, we're at an elite level now. These guys, they don't just come with skill, they come with a lot of determination as well. So, yeah, I reckon 11 to 12 rounds. That's a mindset I've got to have. Anything shorter than that is a blessing.
The conference has now concluded. Please note, DAZN Public Relations will distribute transcripts.